jumping down to Teddy Blueger, who in 65 games, who in fewer games, mind you, 9 goals and 19 assists, which for 28 points, which if I'm not mistaken is all career highs. Close.
The 9 goals ties. I think he
Yes.
did it 2 other times with 9 goals, but
One
the
other
28.
time.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
But the 28 points is definitely a career high for him.
Yes, it is, because it's a career high in assists, tied for a career high in goals. So he crushed his career high in points crushed by his standards, at least by 6 points. But I think really what's most impressive and what will lend my hand into saying, yeah, bump him up to the third line centers. I know we don't talk about the stat a lot because it's normally a throwaway stat, but that plus minus, he was a plus 12. He was a plus 12. Now, again, it's not the greatest. I mean, it's not Brian Dumoulin's plus 24. How did he get that to lead this team?
Look at who he's playing with.
Sure, but he also had 15 assists. Brian Dumoulin had a quiet good year until the end. That being said, we're talking about Teddy Blueger.
Yeah.
In the 65 games, he became a plus 12. That's also a new career high. Again, we're not taking much into this discussion, but the fact that he is on the ice and goals are happening for a fourth liner,
yes,
that means he's not giving up any either. Really, I mean, we know that's the name of his game. We know this. But that's just impressive stuff to actually look at. And when you see, he realize he's the fourth line center. Okay, he has a plus 12 rating. Well, how? How is the fourth line scoring 12 goals, let alone them not giving any up?
Yeah.
Well, he's got a defensive style of play. So moving that to the third line could be quite fun. It's all of a sudden your shutdown line's the third line. You're giving them a lot more minutes, and that you're shutting down opposing offenses a little more often. And now it's just a matter of line matching. Who in this league are Blueger, enter name here, going against?
Well, and I think that's the most important part. Enter name here and enter name here are not going to be guys like Brian Boyle, who was pretty good offensively, but still not what you get from a third liner. Right. Those names are not going to be Dominic Simone and Zach Aston Reese, 2 players that Blueger did play the majority of the season with. Brock McGinn, same thing. He played the majority of the season with McGinn. These are not guys, despite though, like McGinn had a decent offensive start to the season. These are not guys that play on the third line routinely. These are not guys that fit the typecast of a third liner on the wing routinely. If you get him players that can finish, because you mentioned the name of his game, he doesn't allow many goals when he's on the ice. And that's at 5-on-5, and that's on the top penalty kill unit for a penalty kill that finished, 4th in the National Hockey League this season?
Something like that.
Yes. So that's important there. Not only the fact that he's great defensively, but the reason that his numbers are so good, and Jesse Marshall tells us this every time he comes on the show, it's the same thing as Zach Aston Reese and Brandon Tanev when he was on that line. These guys play in the offensive zone. They don't stay in the defensive zone and are great at blocking shots or get sticks in lanes very well. He's good at that. But it's the fact that they get into the offensive zone, they forecheck hard when they don't have the puck, and when they do, he cycles very effectively. Now imagine if he has a trigger man that can actually bury a shot. That's why one of his best seasons offensively, when we started to realize that he was doing really good offensively, was when he played with Brandon Tanev, when Brandon Tanev's shooting percentage was off the charts. Tanev had a great offensive season that lended us to seeing, oh, Teddy Blueger can be a facilitator. Oh, Teddy Blueger can cycle the puck really well. Oh, Teddy Blueger has a pretty decent finish when he's playing with players that are also playing well offensively. Give him that opportunity is what I'm looking for. Give him the opportunity to play with a guy like Danton Heinen, a guy like Evan Rodriguez for extended periods of time, maybe even a guy like Kasperi Kapanen. It will improve his numbers. I guarantee you he will score 10 goals for the first time in his career. I guarantee you he will once again have a career high in points if he is deployed the correct way on that third line with guys that can actually score. And I also think if that happens, his defensive numbers will just get that much better.
You want a trigger man for him?
Yes, I do.
We just talked about him. Jeff Carter.
Hey.
Move him to the wing. Suddenly he becomes an even better goal scorer because we know he can do that.
He had 19 goals last year. He was almost a 20-goal guy.
Remember when he scored 5 in a game? 4 in a game? Whatever it was?
4? Yeah, 4-goal game against Buffalo.
Whatever it was. Who cares if it was against Buffalo? Remember when he did that? put him on the wing with Teddy Blueger and just see what happens. I don't
Yeah.
know, because we keep talking about wanting to move Jeff Carter to the wing, and if Ron Hextall is a little stuck up on keeping his boy around, because again, it probably was. I don't think we didn't even say this when Jeff Carter got here. It probably was the protection from the expansion draft and the promise of a new-ish contract that,
if he wanted it.
Yeah, that brought him here in the first place. We may not have him had it not been for Ron Hextall, a protection, and a new contract. Those three things, we may not have had him. We may have been finding somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But he's here, and this is what we got. So the fact that we didn't even talk about that is at least a good sign, right? We're not mad at the contract, really. It's just kind of his play.
Yeah.
I think because we realize we're stuck. But if we're going to have him, and if Ron Hextall is going to, be persistent about playing him and keeping him maybe in a third line role somewhere, move him to the wing with a Teddy Blueger type, who we all do believe can take the offensive jump eventually. And if it happens, it's going to happen this year at the age of 28. It'll happen this year. That's his offensive jump year at the age of 28. So it's time for him to get a third line center position, stick him on a wing with the veteran winger, give him a winger who's a veteran winger, and Jeff Carter, who can teach him the way a little. You have your two centers still on the same line again. This is looking good. And then you fill in the other line mate with enter name here. I don't know what side it'd be, but
it's two names in my opinion that would fit really well there. And I can't remember off the top of my head if Kapanen plays the right side. I think he does. But if Kapanen comes back, I would love to see Kapanen in a bottom six role this year, and having him on a wing with Blueger. And you say Carter. I still think Carter is best off as a fourth line center. And you know who I want to see on that other wing? I want to see Valtteri Puustinen. Yeah, I really do.
Yeah, we want to see the young guys at some point get their chances too.
But here's the thing. The whole point of this conversation is Teddy Blueger. And if he has any of those three guys on his line, like if that line is made up of the two of those three guys and him, he's going to do well. I would put his ceiling, and this is just my opinion, and you can quote it if you want to. You can old takes expose it if you want to, if he doesn't come anywhere near these numbers. If he is deployed as the third line center with line mates like Puustinen and Kapanen, I have Teddy Blueger's ceiling at 15 goals, 40 points next season. If he's healthy and he plays with those guys consistently.
40 points. You know what? I don't hate that. He does have to be that third line. He does have to get the ice time and the minutes.
Yep.
And he just has to find the back of the net. There has to be a little consistency. His line mates have to be consistent. All things have to go right, but I could totally see it.
That's why I'm saying ceiling.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I can see it.
And it's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, this guy's, it's what, a 12-point bump, and it's a 6-goal bump. And whenever you're considering the fact that he's going to be playing with much better scoring players, and the fact that he's probably going to get more ice time, despite the fact that he's still the Penguins' top penalty killer now. It was him and Aston Reese hand in hand. Now it is for sure Teddy Blueger. I think he could do that. And I honestly believe that if he makes that jump, it's only good for the Penguins, because then you have that flexibility with Carter. Do you need somebody to go up onto the second line? Well, for injuries? Sure, Carter. Do you need somebody for a third line winger? Sure, Carter. Do you need somebody who should be the fourth line center? Yeah, Carter. And that's all made possible by giving Teddy Blueger that opportunity to make that jump. And genuinely, listen, if he's not ready for it, he's not ready for it. But all the indications that I've seen the last couple of seasons are that he is ready to make that jump to third line center. And when you have nobody better right now, like who else is going to be there? Evan Rodriguez, Jeff Carter for another full season. Hollander's barely making the roster, let alone going up and playing 3C. So I think Teddy Blueger is the best fit for third line center as of right now for the Pittsburgh Penguins, unless they go out and they sign somebody. But again, they got issues at second line center, let alone third. I think Blueger is the answer for 3C.